The Expert Series is brought to you by Draw It Paint, a dry erase paint company that allows you to create the exact space you want. Our products are designed for performance, engineered for durability, and manufactured for quality. Draw It Paint's 3 formulas will allow you to reach every possibility. Behold your best work.
All right, my name is Brandan Weatherspoon. I am a real estate agent with Exit Realty of Juneau and actually in Anchorage, Alaska.
Awesome.
And I help buyers buy, sell, rent, and build homes all over the state of Alaska.
Now, how long have you been in Alaska?
I've only been in Alaska now for about 8 months. I moved here from Florida in February. Actually, at the very end of February, I got up here March 1st. And I've been here ever since.
Now, weather-wise, that's one of the most drastic jumps you can take, isn't it, from Florida to Alaska?
It actually is, but the thing is before I lived in Florida, I was born and raised in Chicago, Illinois. So it's a different kind of cold, but cold nonetheless.
For sure. What made you want to move to Florida and then Alaska?
Alaska was one of those goals. You know, my last name begins with W, and when you have those stupid things in class called, papers that you have to write, Alaska was like the very last state to take. So, of course, you're trying to do this research because everyone else can just spout stuff off like that. But the more I actually researched Alaska, the more I actually fell in love with it. So I think that happened in 3rd grade, and I just said, okay, one day I'm going to live in Alaska. How Florida happened was, well, it just happened. It was one of those things you go down on vacation one year, and before you know it, it's like, okay, this is nice. I can do this. And then it's hot, ungodly hot. Like, whew, I can't do that again.
Now, I've never been to Florida, but I've been to places that have very humid heat. How was that, dealing with that from, the change from Chicago?
In the change from Chicago, I don't think it was as bad as far as temperature, because sometimes Chicago gets up to sometimes 102, 103. It's when you add in the humidity, which feels like it's almost 350 degrees. Pretty much you get out the shower and you pretty much got to take another shower as soon as you walk out the house because you're just dripping in sweat. And it's like, it makes you miserable.
And I understand you were a truck driver in Florida for a little bit. What made you want to go into that career path?
My dad was actually a truck driver when I was young. He was a truck driver. He took me all over the country during summer breaks. So pretty much, wanting to be your father or wanting to be like your father, I'm sure every young man wants to be his father or just like his father. I wanted to do it too. Of course, he told me, no, don't do it. Go to electrical school, go to college, go to the military, do anything else. Just don't be a truck driver. And I didn't take his advice. And that's how I ended up in a truck for almost 14 years. But being a truck driver was one of those lifelong dreams, just like being a Marine was a lifelong dream. And I guess I'm one of the fortunate people that could say, I accomplished it. I did it. I probably can't say I mastered it, but I could say I did it.
And did that kind of give you the opportunity to travel the U.S.?
Yes, it did. I've been almost every state. The only state I haven't been to, I think, is Maine.
What's your
favorite
state?
I don't think I want to go. What's my favorite?
Yeah.
I would say between between Oregon and Washington are my 2 favorites, because the eastern parts of the state are so beautiful, but the western parts are nightlife, good food, coffee, anything you want to do, especially Portland and Seattle. Those are two of my favorite places outside of Anchorage, Kenai, and Key West, Florida.
Now, you sound very well traveled, especially for the US. Do you think Alaska has kind of been, one of your long-term destinations or even permanent?
I think it's more of a permanent one. As far as I'm concerned, I don't see myself going, hey, you see it right here, home. I don't see myself going back to Florida, Chicago, or I would say if I went anywhere else, my next step would either be Hawaii, or I would probably go out of the country somewhere, like I have no clue, but so far this is home.
Now, we'll talk a little bit more about Alaska and Juneau specifically later on in the interview, but I just wanted to ask you, what kind of activities do you like to do outside of work right now?
My biggest activity right now has been I've gotten back into exercise. I've gotten into a program called DDP Yoga. I'm really excelling in that right now. I used to wrestle back when I was in high school, not professional wrestling, but mat wrestling. And I'm starting to kind of get back into that. But I do, in a way, I got that little bit of an itch. Like, I loved pro wrestling back in high school. I'm loving it now that there's so much of it on TV. And I kind of do want to get in the ring and just see, okay, what is it all about? Can I do it? Can I do it at 36 is the question. But, those are my activities. I also love cars. I've loved lowriders. I love trucks. I love mudding. Baking as of late, now that I'm off the road and I'm actually at home, have my kitchen, I can actually bake. I think I baked a cake last night and cupcakes and now I'm having to watch it because it's like, okay, you don't want to put the weight back on. So don't eat all this in one day. But, baking is starting to become one of those things. Working out is one of those things. Wrestling is one of those things. Yeah, those are really the big three right there.
Hmm. Now, I understand that, in high school and even post-secondary education, you have a lot of these opportunities to actually wrestle, right? Whether it's through the school or just maybe at lunch or during your breaks. Leaving education, is it difficult to find more wrestling opportunities, especially when it's to the mat and not like professional and WWE?
Yeah, it is. I mean, I know that the military has their teams. You have the All-Marine team and All-Navy team. But as far as, outside of that, unless you join like a wrestling club or a wrestling gym, it is pretty hard to find it. So, and by that time, I kind of gave up on it. I don't think I was good. My coaches said I was, so, so I didn't really pursue it. But now that I'm a little bit older and a little bit more patient, put that in quotations, patient, I think that, I'll give it another try, not really competitively, but more or less just to see if I can still do it.
I understand you're a big Seahawks fan too.
Yeah, pretty much.
What do you think of the season Russell Wilson's having?
Russell, you know what? He had I wouldn't even say he had a bad game against the Ravens, but I would say that if he's not the MVP this year, I would say that he should probably be number 2 or 3. I'm going to hope that we can at least make the NFC championship game. But if not, that's still my guy. I'm not like these Chicago fans and New York fans where, your team has a bad, game, fire that guy or trade him or bench him. Nah, you know what? Russell Wilson, he gave us a ring. He almost gave us 2 rings. So I'm going to hold on to my guy. I'm going to roll with my guy.
Yeah, it was sad news that you guys lost your tight end too. He was having a good season.
Don't remind me, dude. Don't remind me.
I was going to bring up the controversial play call against the Patriots that one year, but I think I'll stay away from it.
Thank you, man. Don't make me cry during the interview. That's not fun. Yeah, and I don't even understand why they didn't let Marshawn Lynch run the ball. I don't know why, but nothing you could do about it at this point. Just, hey, we made it 2 years. I'm happy. I'm just happy with 1 ring at this point.
Yeah, definitely. I would be happy about any sort of wins. I mean, being from Edmonton, we only have the Oilers to really cheer for, and I guess our CFL team, the Edmonton Eskimos, but we haven't really tasted that championship glory in a little while. So I'm a little jealous that you've even gotten a taste. So.
Oh, you said Edmonton Oilers?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm so sorry, sir. I'm just really sorry. You know, I'm a Blackhawks fan. I'm really sorry.
Are you a Bulls fan too, being from Chicago, or?
No, Portland Trail Blazers.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not one of those that's going to jump on the Golden State or LA Lakers or Clippers or Nets. You know, I got a cousin that does that every year. You know, I always joke with him, you know, he's a Golden State Durant's fan. Now he's a Brooklyn Durant's fan. Like, dude, pick a team and stick with it. Now he's a Clippers fan. Like, dude, go on somewhere. Just sit down somewhere, you know. But nah, I'm liking what Damian Lillard's doing right now. So I think he's going to carry that team probably to the finals. I hope he does.
Yeah, they've added a couple key pieces. It sucks that they lost Nurkic and a couple of those guys, but they still have pretty much the same team, right?
Yeah, pretty much. So I'm very confident they'll do it this year.
Mm-hmm. Now you talk a little bit about bandwagon fans and these people jumping from the Warriors to Brooklyn Nets, maybe even the LA Clippers now. When do you think society kind of lost this loyalty for their love of sports teams?
You know what? I'm honestly going to say that I think people really started doing the whole bandwagon thing after, I would say really much after Michael Jordan retired. And, you know, now you don't have this one guy, you don't have a monopoly. Now you have pretty much any team could win. Then all of a sudden, everyone started jumping to one team. Now you got Boston, that's a big team. Now you got Miami, that's a big team. Now you got LA, where all these stars are going to. You know, back when I was a fan, a true fan, you know, when I grew up in Chicago, you knew the starting lineup of, let's say, the Chicago Bulls, of course, Indiana Pacers, New York Knicks, Boston Celtics, the Orlando Magic, Miami Heat. You knew everyone in your conference, and then you knew the guys from the top 8 of the Western Conference, because you're going to play one of those teams. So we knew who was on the Supersonics. Go figure. Nobody knows who the Supersonics is anymore, but you know, you knew who everyone on the Trailblazers were, who everyone on the Jazz were, everyone. So I think most of it now is everyone likes one guy. Like, love him or hate him, LeBron. Love him or hate him, Durant. Love him or hate him, Kawhi Leonard. And they're a fan of that guy, so they go wherever he goes. So everyone was a Golden State Warriors fan. Now all of a sudden, everyone is a Brooklyn Nets fan. Okay, now everyone wants to be a Clippers fan. Why you want to be a Clippers fan? I got no clue, because the Clippers suck. Okay, they have done nothing in the NBA, nothing. So